the co-op. But maybe that's a good, and there were a lot of questions that we didn't get to on supply chain issues, which I know you, Peter, had teed up in your presentation. And then one other one, sustainability is unlikely to flourish in a company that does not have a strong vision. How do each of your companies build that strong eco culture? So maybe from these last two, either on the downside challenges or this vision and strong eco culture, if each of you would like to say something, kind of as concluding comments.
Sure. I think you're coming back, how do you actually get the vision is key, and I think the sustainability has to align with the company's purpose and values. Otherwise, it's going to be an add-on. So I think firstly it has to be aligned with companies' true DNA. And I think the other thing is it has to build on the company's strengths. This isn't something that is provided by a corporate function. It has to be built into the business. So for a company like P&G, our strengths are our consumer understanding. So knowing exactly what it is that consumers want. So how can we actually fill that need? Part of that need is sustainable products, but how can we do it in a way that they want it? So our strength in consumer need, innovation. As I said, finding ways to do both and no trade-offs. We have a strength in branding. We can make the biggest difference by improvements on the biggest brands. If we put environmental improvements onto the big brands, that has the biggest impact. So branding is one of our strengths, and we can use it in sustainability. Going to market capability. We work with the Loblaws, the Tesco's in the UK, the Walmarts. We work up the supply chain as well to actually, develop and then deliver sustainability. And the last thing for us is scale. We have a huge impact, for good or bad. 3 billion times a day, somebody somewhere uses one of our products. So if we can actually deliver sustainable products, it can make a huge difference. We have a huge social opportunity to do something. So to me, the challenge is that how do you use your corporate strength? The opportunity is how do you use your corporate. It's the same thing.
As I said at the beginning when I opened, one of the core pillars of BASF's strategy, which has been entrenched for quite a while and will continue into the future, is to ensure sustainable development. And with the way that our executives endorse it and cascade it downward, it's intrinsic to our culture that that's what we look at as we're entertaining development ideas and looking at our energy resources and our products and processes, all of those kinds of things. In terms of difficulty, we don't really hear that kind of parlance. What we hear is opportunity, we hear innovation, we hear developmental ideas. We look at it more as a brainstorming kind of idea as to how to find better ways to do things and to bring our products through to our customers. So for us, it's more of a, as I would say, a holistic viewpoint. If there is a challenge to it, it's the global nature of the issue. And to try to figure out, if we do something in Canada, it's not necessarily what we do here that will have a global impact, which is the desired future impact. It's to coordinate and, again, to balance and move into the future with our strategy to ensure sustainability.
There's really no downsides for the co-op. The downside is not to push the stuff as quickly and as fast as you can. And I really want to end on that quick and fast because, I looked at that conference board report last week, and it's a good question. Why don't Canadians, show the leadership that, why do we rank so low? It's a horrible thought to think that we're not leaders in this particular area because we should be. And what drives me crazy is I went into our architects, because we're going to construct another store in Southern Ontario here in the next little while to cut down on all that travel time, by the way. And we went in there, and the architects, and these are architects who specialize in green, and they were saying that less than 1/3, and that was an optimistic number, actually incorporate any green features in new built environments that they're on the drawing board right now in this province. So I look at this and I think about this notion of speed and change. And I mean, just think about this. We're actually putting on the drawing board, they're not even in the ground yet, built forms that are at least 25 to 50 years in their lifespan, and they're not incorporating features that we know actually have to be incorporated. And that retrofitting them later on is a stupid way to go because it's vastly more expensive. So for me, when I look at this, I just don't figure out why we as businesses, as individuals, don't factor in this time equation. Eventually, we're going to be told to do this. Governments eventually are going to come around to this. And if you haven't already got a head start on it, your business is actually going to suffer because you didn't do it sooner and waited for somebody to tell you, or you waited for the credits or whatever you have to do. So my issue is really around the speed at which we do this, not necessarily that we're doing it, just can we do it a little quicker?
Thank you.
I agree. I mean, we're also obviously in the business of building stores at a bit of a bigger rate than the co-op. But that being said, everything that we've done on the retrofit side comes a lot more expensive, and we do it because it's the right thing to do. But all our stores from now on, we're looking at them to be LEED certified stores, so that we're doing it now rather than doing it later. The retrofits that we're doing now are a result of what we didn't know what we didn't know at the time. But now that we know, we want to get it right the first time. But a comment on culture. Culture is not something that can be imposed on a company, and it especially can't be imposed on a company of our size and of our diversity. Culture is a learned behavior, and it comes from the top down, I believe. And I think that we're in a really interesting position because we do have new leadership in our company that has been very vocal and very active on sustainability. And, internally we see that cultural shift already in the last 6 months, and I think that it's just going to be stronger and more ingrained in everything we do over the next number of months.
Okay, well, thank you. I want to thank also the audience for being so responsive. I know we did